I want to help the MoJo team grow their YouTube channel. They have some really good videos on there and content for you guys to go. And anytime after you subscribe, anytime they post something new, you are going to get alerted of that. So if everyone on the call can scan that QR code, you take your phone out. Love QR codes now, right? Makes it so easy. All you have to do, open up your camera, scan that QR code, and hit that subscribe button. And to sweeten the deal,
I'm gonna try.
Anyone who subscribes right now today on the call, I will give away a $50 Rockstar Shop gift card. So go and get one of our cool hats or shirts or any type of swag that you guys want to get. So please, please, please scan that QR code. I'll leave that up there. I'll make sure to hit it at the end of the call as well. And then I just love giving stuff away. So let's give a $50 gift
now. You guys have some V-neck t-shirts that are awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, they're like so comfortable, and I don't know, they're just great shirts, and they're V-neck, which makes me like them even more.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, I think you have crew neck too, but I just
V-neck gives you a little bit more room to breathe. You can,
yes, especially in the summer or anything, you know, when it's a little warmer out. It's just,
yep.
Yeah.
It'd be great if Morgan was wearing one right now. He could just unbutton the button and just
Here all the promotion.
No.
I'm wearing a this isn't available, it just says Rock University, but hopefully we'll get some more shirts and stuff loaded up into the swag shop as well soon. All right, let me make sure I getting everybody in here.
Hi guys, I'm excited.
Hey Lynn.
Hey Lynn.
Hi.
Angel, Ann, hello, hello. Got Brian and Izzy, Christina, just to make sure I'm hit. Hey Dana, Janice, Jeff Hoover's on the call. Hello, Jesse, Kathy, good to see you. Awesome, guys. If you are just jumping on, before we jump in, can you just scan that QR code for me? That is going to go to the MoJo team's YouTube channel. They are so close to hitting that 100 mark. I really want them to go over today, so I know we can do it. If you go there, subscribe, and then any new content they are putting out, you will be able to access that there. So I'm going to go ahead and we can jump in and get started, because I want to make sure that we respect everyone's time, and we have a lot to go over today. 2023, right? Can we believe that the first month is almost done? Like, that's, you know, we say it every time, it's insane, but life just keeps on pushing. So, but as we know, we've experienced a shift in the market over the last 6 months. I know we've heard that word so much, we're just turning blue at this point. But what do you do in a shifted market or normal market, or really any market, to make sure that you can still hit your goals? You know, it always comes down to, usually GCI is the goal number that we talk about. But what are the steps to get you there, right? What are the tools that you need, or just the daily habits of consistency for you to go from A to B? So we are very excited to have Morgan Hodges and Josh Henson of the MoJo team in Scottsdale, Arizona. I know we have Vegas on the call as well, so very happy to have everyone on. Very successful, 2 guys in real estate. They've been doing this a long time now. They have a very successful team. Their agents are killing it. They offer a lot of coaching, and we are very lucky to be able to jump on calls with them every so often to bring to you guys. So today we're talking about how to make a lot of money in any market. Okay, this is going to be, you know, not overcomplicated. There's a lot of things that we as humans and agents do to try to overcomplicate the system, and really, it can be very simple if we put in action the few things that we know that we already need to be doing. So today, you know, for an agent to Morgan and Josh, and whichever one you guys want to jump in first, how we flow this, but
and really quick, Justin, you know,
yes.
Please know we're an open book, so ask us anything, you know, any questions you want. Even at the end, if people have questions, feel free to ask. You know, we don't there's nothing special that we're going to hold and not share with anyone, so ask away.
Absolutely. I mean, they're an open book, so if you guys have questions, throw it in the chat box, and we'll make sure to get those as we move along here. And then of course, at the end, we'll do a little Q&A. So guys, what are the things that agents should be doing on the daily to reach those goals in 2023, and really just in any market, right? We've experienced a crazy market the last couple of years. We're kind of more in a normalized market. We want to say that. I mean, inventory went down a little bit, but what do you guys think agents should be doing on the daily to reach those goals?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in and get us started. And like I said, for the title of this webinar, we wanted to keep it simple in a way, how to make a lot of money in this or any given market. And both Josh and I are strong believers in the number one thing that you must do no matter what in this or any market to make a lot of money is prospecting, prospecting, prospecting. You have to get out there and hunt. Josh, tell us why.
Well, I mean, it seems like a pretty simple concept, but so many agents actually don't do it. They'll wait for the business to fall into their lap, or maybe they'll do like an Instagram post and think that that's prospecting. But the reality is that either agents don't prospect, or they do for the most part, or they do very little prospecting. And that's why 87% of the agents fail out of business after the first few years in the business, is because I think they just don't realize what they need to do to get a paycheck. And so, I know that we always look at our business as, like a retail store or a restaurant, and that you have to have your doors open 24/7. And being, like your home office doesn't act as your storefront. Your brokerage isn't your storefront. You have to actually have a storefront, which for a lot of our agents on our team is an open house where you set up shop every single day and you invite people to come and see you and connect with people there.
Yeah, definitely. And in addition to that, there's the thing is there's so many different ways you can prospect, whether that be holding open houses, you can be calling internet leads or reaching out to your SOI. You can be reaching out to those people that you've met at the soccer game or the football game. You can reach out to people you've met. All of those times that you're doing that, that's all prospecting. You must always be prospecting. There's a common acronym out there, ABC, always be closing. We like to switch that around, and that's ABP, always be prospecting. It doesn't matter where you go or what you do. If you're in real estate, you're prospecting. You've got to always have that in the back of your mind. You want to bring it up a little bit into conversations. It's most likely going to come up by you just putting yourself out there and being a friendly individual, and anyone in the business knows how this works. But at the same time, anyone doing a successful, regular, repeatable amount of business is prospecting, whether they like it or not. And that's when they find themselves most successful, is when they're intentional about their prospecting, when they're really, setting intentions, setting goals around it. But you've got to always be prospecting, always be making cold reach outs, always looking to connect with more people.
Yeah, well, what we found, Justin, is that a lot of agents will carve out time in their day to go to lunch or to check their emails, or, maybe create a new flyer for a property or whatever. But when it comes to prospecting, we find that very few agents actually carve out and schedule and time block that time into their day. So it's super important. It's absolutely the number one thing that we preach on our team, and what's made us successful and what's made a lot of our agents on our team successful.
And I just want to dive a little bit, kind of unbox that a little bit more for the types of prospecting, right? So you guys had mentioned a little bit before open houses, maybe sphere of influence. What does that look like? And have you guys seen one of those prospecting methods to be kind of, the highest percentage in terms of, return on investment? And also a second question to that is, maybe an agent isn't comfortable necessarily in open houses or door knocking or things like that. Do you think that they should avoid doing it, or do you think that they should just practice more, get comfortable, and it's more of a coaching thing?
Well, I would say the quickest way to a paycheck is by either doing an open house or contacting your SOI. I mean, those are hands down the quickest way to get paid, is to literally get yourself in front of potential buyers and sellers, or reach out to your SOI, connect with people, ask for referrals, that sort of thing. And I'm sorry, Justin, the second part of your question?
So of course, everyone has their own like learning process, or, for prospecting, maybe someone's not comfortable on the phones with calling internet leads, or they're not comfortable face to face at an open house or door knocking. Do you think that they should dabble in a little bit of all and see where they find the most success? Or do you think they should just practice more, get over the objections, and like you said, just, hustle and get it done?
Yeah, I mean, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And so if you know that you're a killer when it comes to open houses and you just crush it, like, I think that's great. I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. I would, maybe put 50 to 70% of my time into that column, that pillar of prospecting. If there's another area where maybe you're uncomfortable, I think that's a good thing. I think that's our body telling ourselves, hey, it's, this is an area where, maybe you could get stronger and get better in. It kind of sends up that signal of, hey, like, spend more time learning about this. Yeah, I think in this business, you have to put yourself out there and you have to get better, especially like, making phone calls, because we're not just calling our SOI, or we're not just calling leads, but we're calling title agents and loan officers and inspectors. I mean, we're on the phone all day, every day. And so if you're not good on the phone, then this maybe isn't the best business for you.
Well, and the reality is like Josh said, is there's opportunities for growth, no matter where or how long you've been in the business or what you've been doing. We talk to longtime realtors all the time who have done a pretty good level of business, but they say, hey, I don't know how to talk to a lead on the phone and convert them. But in the reality is it all comes down to kind of some of the coaching and training, and like you said, those levels of growth. But there are things we can all do on a daily basis to improve. And anywhere you do have a slight uncomfortable zone, you've got to reframe it. You've got to put it in your mind, and you've got to push through that in order to gain. And so any place to spend time, one of the things that we preach to all of our agents is, like Josh was saying earlier, use that open house as your storefront, to bring people in and get to know them that way. But there's always going to be some downtime within an open house, especially if you're holding them regularly. That's a perfect time to double dip and to make those reach outs and calls. But we go back to, you must just always be prospecting. You've got to put yourself out there, learn better ways to communicate with people and strangers. People love to talk about themselves and what they're doing. You need to learn to ask the right questions and how to get them to open up to you. We're in a business, we're in a people business, and whether you like it or not, people buy and sell houses. And so you have to connect and get to know people, get them to know you. And the quicker you can close that gap of you're a total stranger to you're someone they know, like, and potentially can learn to trust, you are going to have more success. And so for anyone out there, you come from a corporate world, it's a different animal. It is your own business. You do get out of it what you put into it. What that means is you get out of it as you learn and grow, your business can learn and grow. If you refuse to grow in any one areas, your business may refuse to grow in that area.
And I did see Yvette had a great question there in the chat. She was asking, where are we getting all these great leads? Well, on our team, what we do is we actually provide leads to our team members. Right now, we have over 500 leads that come into the system every single month. And there are different websites that we have. We personally use Commissions Inc., but there's a lot of other platforms out there that you can use. There's Real Geeks and
Boomtown.
Leads and Boomtown, and I mean, you name it. There's a lot of different lead generation systems out there. If that's something that you're interested in, you can definitely do your research and find what's the best one for you. We personally love Commissions Inc. We've been with them for the last couple of years and have closed probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in GCI out of it. It's very valuable. It's very expensive. It's like the Cadillac of lead systems, but that's where we would get leads outside of open houses, outside of your sphere, outside of door knocking.
Yeah, and just a quick follow-up to that. Sorry, I don't want to take too much time, but your leads are only going to be as good as your system to work them. Meaning, if you don't call anybody that comes into your system, they're going to be bad leads.
100%.
If you don't learn to ask the right questions, it's going to be bad leads. You also have to know it's a numbers game, and there's good people. There really are good people out there that maybe don't know an agent in your area, or that, you know, that are on there that you can connect with. Do you have to weed through maybe, you know, some of the not so good? Yes, of course. But there are good people out there who are looking for someone to take care of them and to provide a high level of service. And that could be you, but you have to reach out and connect with them.
Yeah, no, and Morgan, I mean, that's a great point, is that you could have 1,000 leads, but if you don't call them, or you only call them once, and you really should be calling them 10 times, or you're not texting them, you're not reaching out to them, you're not providing any sort of value to them, you don't know what to say once you do get them on the phone, all these things, like, I mean, those 1,000 leads, you might as well just not even have the leads in the first place, because you're just kind of burning through the leads.
For sure. And I just wanted to make that, I'm glad you brought that back up, because that is one of the biggest things that I see is when we generate leads, we call them one time or we reach out one time, and all of a sudden we think that they're a bad lead, when in reality, it just wasn't the timing, right? So we got to follow up another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times until we can make a connection with them. And either they tell us to, you know, unsubscribe or leave me alone, or, hey, thank you so much, I've been busy. Yes, I'd love more information. And I think that goes just not for internet leads, but really all of the things that we're talking about today, especially open houses. If you meet a seller or a buyer even, but if you meet a seller, how quickly are you turning around and getting them a CMA sent to them, or following up with them, or a note or something, right? You know, are we waiting a week, or, you know, whatever it is? But don't think of, you know, that follow-up process or that prospecting just for internet leads, but it's really anyone that you're interacting that kind of raises a flag of, hey, I might be interested in buying or selling the home.
Oh, 100%. If you meet someone at an open house and you get all their contact information, first off, you should be following up with them, you know, right away, but they may not answer the phone right away. They may not respond to one of your text messages. You may have to text them and call them and leave voicemails and court them, you know, over a couple of weeks until they finally pick up the phone and say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, I've been getting your voicemails. Thank you so much for following up. I really appreciate it. Yes, we are still interested. You know, here's what we're looking for, yada, yada. I mean, I can't tell you all the times that Morgan and I have had that exact same conversation over the years. I mean, there was one guy in particular that I can think of right now that I courted for 8 years. And every year we'd have a good conversation and then he'd go dark. And for 8 years, I just stayed in touch, and I followed up, even though he wasn't necessarily responding to me. And then finally I sold him a house here in Scottsdale not too long ago. And Morgan's had the same experiences. We've had a lot of team members we have a team member right now who, she said she contacted this guy about 2.5 years ago, and he's finally coming out to look at properties. And once again, there was kind of like this courtship that went on for the last 2.5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's good. You got to keep the consistent follow-up for sure. Brian and Izzy had a question. I think we answered the one about open houses, other things that we can do, but when you reach out to your sphere, how do you reach them? I think that's a question I get a lot too, because agents are worried that they're going to be bugging the people they know or their sphere. They don't know what to say. So what are a couple tips that you guys can give to them?
Our favorite reach out type when it comes to your sphere is really, you know, taking your sphere of influence. That's your SOI, you know, the people who know you, your Facebook friends, whichever, and really putting some systems around it and some general ones. The one we like best is to where you're breaking them down. There's 52 weeks in the year, and, you know, you're working on making a phone call to each of your top, you know, you're really tight, your best sphere, your closest people once a quarter. You know, it's really just time to catch up, everything else. But then you want to try to touch them once a month, but it doesn't always have to be a phone call or a text message. You know, you could go on to and see what they're doing on social media and actually comment on one of their posts, or send them something you found kind of funny. It's just a way to put yourself a little back in front of them and make it personal. You know, people, again, want to work with those that they know and they like. And, you know, so it does have to be more of a genuine connection. And so when you call them, you know, especially the first time you call that first quarter, don't talk about real estate. Don't even talk about it. It's going to come up. ask them how they're doing, see what's been going on in their life, catch up. Eventually, they're going to turn around on you, and you can choose whether you want to bring up real estate or not, but really it's just that touch point. And, if you do that again in 3 months and, but most of your friends or people, it's perfectly okay to end the conversation with, hey, one of the things I did want to bring up is I'm looking to grow my business this year. And, I personally have a goal of set to help 15 families, buy or sell a home. Would you happen to know anyone who I should be talking to? And, there's many different scripts, questions you can ask along those lines that will just help you. And the more you can internalize it and get it, it's going to roll off your tongue, feel really natural. But it's about the connection. It's about the connection with the people, and that's going to help you and help others if you're connecting a little more often.
Yeah, and I think Morgan really hit it there on the head, is that that you don't need to talk real estate with these people, because if they know that you're in real estate, they are naturally going to bring it up and say, hey, how's the market? What are you seeing? Yada, 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 yada. I mean, it will come up at some point. And if it doesn't come up, that's okay. It will come up in some future conversation that you have with this person, but I would focus more on the relationship. I think I love taking people to lunch. I love meeting people for breakfast in the morning, or, grabbing happy hour, whatever like that. I think that's a great way to connect with people. And then, I think that if you have anyone in your SOI that owns a home in Phoenix, I think setting them up on a monthly drip where they're receiving all the active pending and sold properties within their subdivision or their area every single month with your face, they're getting an email from you right from the MLS with your face and all your contact information on it. And it's just, they're getting reminded of you every single month. So they're not going to forget, oh, okay, yeah, John's in real estate. So that's something that we do with all of our SOI. And I think it works really well.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So Janice, just to call out, she said, I'm finding the same type of thing 2 or 3 years later. They're ready to buy and they call you and you scramble to pull their file to refresh your brain. So that notes are good too in your CRM or database. Make sure you're keeping notes. If they just had a newborn child or something happened in the family, or they got a new dog or something. And that's what's so great about what Morgan was saying about social media too, is just commenting on their post, right? Keeping your name in front of them is another great way to be able to touch that. But I want to jump back to prospecting a little bit. And I know one of the things that always comes up for my teams is how much prospecting should I be doing? How many hours should I be spending a day, a week, a month? And not only how long should they be doing it, but how can they ensure that it's going to be effective?
Okay. Well, I think it really depends on each person. So if you are swamped and you're busy and you're crushing and you're closing deals left and right, then maybe you only have time to prospect an hour a day. Maybe that's all you have time for. If you are newer in the business, or maybe your business has dropped off a little bit and you need to pick it back up. I mean, if it were me, I would be pouring in as many hours into every single day as I possibly could. I mean, at the very least, I would say 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. But I mean, I have 3 little kids. If my back's up against the wall and I need to get a paycheck and I need to keep the lights on and pay the bills, I can assure you that I will be prospecting all day. I'll be sitting at an open house for 8 hours a day, making phone calls, following up with people. I mean, nothing's going to stop me from getting that paycheck.
Yeah. And the one thing we talk about a lot, which is true, is the biggest thing too is consistency. And, we know that in real estate, a lot of agents do struggle with consistency. And that's kind of a big thing, is people who prospect and get busy. But even during those busy times, you've got a time block. You need to time block. We strongly recommend and urge an hour a day, a minimum of new reach outs where you are actively picking up the phone, actively going to hunt. Like Josh said, if you're in a time to where there's a lull in your business, that time is best spent prospecting, is to fill your pipeline, to get more people, following up on the people that you've been prospecting over the last few months. But you need to time block that time, and you've got to make sure you hit it. Because as you let it go, that's when your business falls off. That's when you get the phone calls, or when you reach out, they say, oh, you know what? I just bought a house. I hadn't heard from you in months. And so, Kelly down the street found me a property. That's the time. And so that's where we're strong believers in really setting up your schedule for success and looking at your day, your week, and putting in those hours of time where you're going to spend, making hunting, where you're going to spend hunting for listings, hunting for new buyers, not the time necessarily searching the MLS, doing other things, where you are actually picking up the phone. Now, open houses can obviously count as this prospecting time, but you really want to keep track of how many people you're getting through, and then you go again back to following up.
Yeah, it's the most important time in your day. And it's really easy to make excuses and say, oh, I've got errands to run, or I've got this going on or that going on. I mean, we've heard all the excuses from everyone. And so, but honestly, it's really the most important hours in your day. So Morgan's right. You got to look at your week and you got to say, okay, you have to have a plan. When am I going to prospect? What day? Start off with what days am I going to prospect? What days am I going to work and actively prospect? And then once you figure out the days, okay, how many hours am I going to do? Once again, minimum of an hour, but honestly, 2 to 3 hours, I think is best to even have some sort of traction. By the time you start getting into the rhythm of prospecting, the hour's going to fly by. You'll already be done and you'll be closing up shop. So I would say at least 2 to 3 hours and 5 days a week. I would say that most successful agents in Arizona, across the country, are prospecting 2 to 3 hours a day, generating new business and following up with the current business or current leads that they have.
Yep, no, for sure. And I think too, once as an agent, you actually start going through that new time block and you're consistent and you start to see things drop and your pipeline starts to fill up, it clicks, right? And then it just becomes like, okay, this is working. I'm gonna keep doing this, or put other processes in place to ensure that it continues to happen.
Yeah,
I
and
want
Justin,
to-
you got to protect that time too.
For sure.
So
Yeah,
it's easy to time block that time, but what I've seen is that people time block that time and then they spend their time like looking at emails and it starts encroaching into that time block. And then they get a call from their parent, their mom or whatever, and they answer the call and they talk to her for 20 minutes. And then, you have to protect that time. So I put my phone on do not disturb. I'm only calling the people that I want to reach out to. I'm not checking emails during that time. Nothing else matters. Even if you have a deal that you're working on, guess what? It's okay. There's usually not something that's so time sensitive that you need to be ready to go and respond within minutes of an email or a phone call. Now, if there is, obviously, maybe that's not the best time to do your prospecting, but most days that's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the distraction part, I'm glad you brought that up. That is huge. I mean, even I don't think in any business that exists for everyone, right? So we have so many different things coming through, emails to follow up with, people are calling, or maybe it's in your environment. Maybe you can't focus. Maybe the kids are home, or you gotta get out and into the office or go to the brokerage or whatever it is to make sure that you do have those zero distractions. Because at the end of the day, this is your livelihood. This is how you're going to support yourself and your family. And so you have to treat prospecting like it is the core of your business, because it really is in that lead gen and making sure that your pipeline stays full.
Yeah, and once again, that visual of if you bought a store, that everyone here on this call or on this Zoom would they wake up early, they'd get to the store, before it opened. Let's say it opened at 10 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning. They get there probably at least an hour ahead of time, make sure the store is looking perfect, make sure everything's clean and tidy and ready to go. And then they would open up the doors, be there all day long until 9 o'clock at night, and then they would once again tidy the entire place up, do all the accounting, like get everything looking perfect again, and then probably leave by 10 and be home and go to bed and do it all over again. But in real estate, people just don't look at it the same way. They'll sit there in front of their computer and search the MLS and twiddle their thumbs and just not do the activities that are necessary to generate business. And I can assure you that if you're at your own home office and you're just kind of scanning through properties and answering emails, you are going to have a number of months that are going to be without a paycheck.
Definitely. So I want to kind of talk about some goals. And I know Yvette had brought up the word secrets, right? So a lot of top producers and teams throw that word out there, secret sauce. So let's say that I'm an agent, or use a nice round number, $100,000 is my goal this year, right? Aside from prospecting, what is some secret sauce that you guys have that you can share with the agents on the call, if any? And, aside from prospecting, setting goals and time blocking, what are some other things that they must do?
Yeah, I kind of love this because a lot of people talk about the secret sauce, and Josh and I kind of laugh because there is no secret sauce. There is no secret sauce out there. I mean, there are things you can do, and we kind of break them down, and we like to think about a few things that every successful agent must do to make a lot of money. And it's really the 3 F's, okay? You've got to follow up, you've got to follow through, and you've got to follow back. So we'll break those down real quick. Follow up, you got to follow up with everyone, every single person you talk to, any one of your new leads, anyone walking through an open house, your SOI. That's a lot of your prospecting time, or your follow-up time is you're following up. You're following up with agents. You're constantly following up. It's part of the business. It's something you've got to get very good at. You've got to follow up. Number 2, follow through. If you say you will do something, you do it. Pretty simple. It sounds very simple, but there's a lot of agents who miss out on that one. They might meet someone at an open house and say, hey, I'll send you a group of properties. And then they don't. They meet a seller, like you said, and they say, hey, I'll pull some comps for your house. And then they don't. There's all these little things. If you say you will do something, I'll call you next week. You have to do that. If you say you're going to connect with someone, you must follow through on everything. You've got to be known as a person that follows through. Whatever you say you will do, you do. And you do it in the quickest time possible, and you do it on a timely time, and to where you're someone that your clients, especially, and people who are starting to get to know you, understand that they can always count on you. When you say you'll do something, you'll do it. Lastly, you've got to follow back. These are your past clients, your sphere of influence, anyone hey, it's, I don't know, but this, but 1 year ago today, we closed on your home. I just wanted to follow back up with you and, congratulate you. Hey, I saw it was your birthday. I'm following back. So you're following back up with people who already know you, maybe who have already bought and sold through you, people that are within your sphere. You're following back them. You're constantly keeping up with them, following back, finding chance to bring real estate up. And so there's so many times, it's a crazy stat from the National Association of Realtors, but it's about 75% of all people were surveyed who said they would use the agent that sold them their house again. But the sad part is it's well under 50% of agents that do a repeat business with that client. And why? It's because they're never following back up with them. They're kind of one and done and on to the next. And then they're just forgetful of these people that they worked so hard to maintain their business. If we all did a better job, or agents in general did a better job of keeping in contact with the people they sold homes to 5, 6, 7 years ago, the business would be so much easier. And so you've got to follow back.
The fortune's in the follow-up, the follow-through, and the follow-back.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And so if there's a secret sauce, that's really it. I mean, there's tweaks you can get, maybe a lead system that works well, buyer or seller leads, an open house that just generates great traffic, ready, willing buyers. We have some theories around that as far as what the types of homes you want to choose, and that, and basically, obviously updated, great neighborhoods, all the stuff you'd anticipate. But the reality is you've got to follow up, you've got to follow through, and you've got to follow back. It's literally does not get more simple than that if you want to be successful.
Justin, I'll give you a couple extra bonus secret sauce tips here. There's really 6 ways to double your income. So if you made $50,000 last year and you want to make $100,000 this year, for number 1, double your price point. And I want to use open house as an example here. If you're holding $300,000 houses open, hold $600,000 houses open. It's that simple. It's like real estate's a math equation. And so you got to look at your efforts all from like, okay, if A equals B and B equals C, A equals B, you got to do the math. But number one, double your price point. Number two, double the time that you spend prospecting. So if you're prospecting for an hour a day, double it to 2 hours a day. It's that simple. Number three, double the number of days that you prospect. If you're prospecting 2 days a week, bump it up to 4. Once again, these are simple, easy things. Number four, know the market. There are so many agents out there that just don't completely understand the market or what's going on. We personally follow the Cromford Report. We're on calls with Tina, every week or every other week, learning everything on what's going on, all the stats. Also, any subdivisions we're working in or any areas that we're working in, we really, dig deep and know what's going on there. Any news articles that come out, you want to know what's going on so that you can handle those objections with your clients. I know Goldman Sachs, they just came out with an article the other day saying that the Arizona market is going to dip about 25%. Guess what? We're already having conversations with our clients about that. So number four, like I said, know the market. Number five, add another pillar of prospecting. So if you're great at open houses and you're doing open houses, that's awesome. Keep doing that, but add one more pillar of prospecting in there. So if you're sitting at the open house, don't sit there and just twiddle your thumbs or look at the internet all day long. Call people. Spend that time like that you're active, calling people, following up with people, or door knock the neighborhood ahead of time. You can go on social media and do a Facebook Live or whatever while you're there at the open house. Anything to generate more business while you're there. And then last but not least, number six, practice your scripts, talk to people and close them. If you don't know what to say or how to say it, you're going to probably fumble, and you don't want to be practicing on your clients or prospective buyers and sellers. You want to practice off hours with another, family member or friend or team member or your coach, whoever. But you want to have those dialed in. And Morgan and I, we're not huge into scripts as far as like, you've got to say these exact words, but we're huge into questions and knowing what questions to ask and asking really good questions to get the answers that you want to be able to help them with their goals and needs and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
there's
kind of a lot.
yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Jess.
I felt like you had some value or some content. Something was brewing there.
We always have things to say, but yeah.
Well, first I might have to steal those 3 F's for a T-shirt or something. That's pretty good.
The 3 F's. Yeah.
I'll make sure to add your guys' website on it if I do. So follow through, and follow back, right? So these are everything you guys are talking about. It's very simple, right? Like I was saying earlier, I think we overcomplicate things, just not as agents, but as humans. It really can just be a lot simpler. And for all the agents listening, I mean, Josh was talking about, if you want to double it, you're doing open houses for 300,000 and all you just go to 600,000, right? And then all of a sudden you're interacting with a group of sellers and buyers that are in that price point, right? You're putting yourself in that situation. So I think that's huge, but everything we're talking about is super simple, but it has that impact for that long-term success that we're looking for. But why do you guys, and I always want to make sure these coaching calls are, we can always reflect on ourselves and things that we can improve as agents and provide clients more value. But with everything sounding so simple and easy, why do you think that more agents aren't doing the things that we're talking about today?
Jess, I think it really comes down to mindset. We start, we do a couple of different presentations. We start a lot of them talking about mindset, because you have to not only want to do it, but you have to believe you can do it. You have to believe that there is light at the end of this tunnel, at the end of the grind. At the end of that telephone, there are great people on the other line waiting for you to connect with them. The telephone, it can be a very source of negativity for agents. And part of it is, they're self-conscious, they're worried about what they're going to say. There's so many different things. But again, it's all about a shift in your mindset. If you understand these are good quality people on the other end of the line that just need someone to look after and take care of their needs, it can change your mindset. But your mindset really comes down to, are these activities going to lead and pay off? And they will, providing you do them and work them consistently. You work on your skills, you have the right mindset. And so you've really got to start off each day, each activity with with that strong and positive mindset, people can say what they want, foo-foo this, but it's been proven time and time again. There is such a strong connection with belief and the belief in yourself or your abilities or your ability to learn and to adapt. Whatever it is, you've got to hang your hat and know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that you will get there, that you can do it, putting in the right amount of time, effort, and energy. And so you've got to have the right mindset.
Yeah, I like that. I like that quote. Something along the lines of either you believe you can do something or you believe you can't do something. Either way, you're right.
Yep.
And so, you figure that half the population is probably a little bit more negative and half the population is probably a little bit more positive. I'd like to think Morgan and I fall into that positive, good energy category.
It's also a learned trait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But it could be, if you tend to be a little bit more negative, you got to crack out of that. I mean, you got to start consuming, good, positive stuff. So that means that you're listening to a podcast every single day that is just uplifting or like really good music. Maybe there's some negative people in your life that are kind of bringing you down. You got to, I'm sorry to say it, but you got to start distancing yourself from those people. And just surround yourself with good, positive people. I think it's important to have a morning routine. So, whatever that looks like, it's gonna be a little different for everyone, but I think getting up early, setting the alarm early and not hitting snooze a million times, but getting up right when the alarm goes off. I personally like to work out right away to just get the blood pumping and just wake myself up. Get the shower in, get a good breakfast, get your vitamins, get your supplements for the day. And Morgan and I would consume a lot of content ourselves. So usually on the way into the office, I'm listening to some podcasts out there to just kind of get the day right, get the day going. But yeah, I mean, it's 100% mindset. There's a lot of agents out there that just feel like, maybe getting into that $600,000 price point might be a roadblock. Maybe they think they're not worthy of that higher price point, or maybe they just don't think that they're that great on the phone, so they don't pick up the phone and make phone calls, or they don't practice. And so I think we have all these mental roadblocks that get in the way of our daily activities and keep us from succeeding or moving forward or getting past those barriers.
Yep. Yeah, and it's going to be a little different for everybody. But the things that are certainly proven, like Josh said, is if, and this isn't from me, but from somebody else. I think it was Darren Hardy that said, your brain really is like a glass of water, and all of those negative thoughts, emotions, and feelings are dirt within that water. So now and if that's all that you're telling yourself, that's all that you're kind of listening to, or the conversations, you're always looking at things with a negative light, you've got a dirty glass of water. If you're, you consume 30 minutes of the news and the murders over here and that and everything else, it's just putting dirty water in your glass. You need good, positive content, something like this or another podcast that's going to get you motivated and revved up. A great book. There's so many different options these days where you're pouring clean water in that glass. And the more you're doing, the more you can practice even positive self-talk, affirmations, I can do this. I will get through this. All these repetitive things that you can. Is it going to change Tuesday to Wednesday? And all of a sudden, snap, I'm the most amazing phone professional. I'm a prospect, lean, mean prospecting machine in one day? Probably not. No, that's not how life works. Life works, it is a slow, gradual thing. But and then you hit that, you gain some momentum, and it hockey sticks. But it does so after consistent efforts put in on a consistent basis. And so as you're going, it's eating the elephant. Just you've got to start and you've got to get going and you've got to know you'll get there in time.
Yeah, Morgan, you make a great point with the consistency, because there's so many agents, especially newer agents that just got licensed. They've only been in the business for maybe a few years. What we've seen is that they tend to do something for a very short period of time. They might do open houses and they might hit open houses really hard for, a month or two. And then maybe they didn't, have a lot of success, or maybe they didn't pull anyone out of those open houses. And so they give up and they run to the next thing. Okay, now I'm going to make calls. I'm going to make calls for the next 2 months. And then maybe they don't have a lot of success doing that. And so then I'm going to go door knock. And they're quickly like shifting gears every couple months, trying to look for that magic blue pill. But the reality is that they just stayed the course and did the same thing over and over and over again. They're going to get better. They're going to have success. They're going to, pull out, some great leads and great clients and prospects from it. But people are just too quick to shift gears. It's just
For sure. And I think too, I mean, we've all experienced, to go back to that negative and positive, we've all experienced something or someone in our lives that has either deterred us or brought our mood down or whatever it is. So like we were talking about earlier, protecting that prospecting time, you really have to protect your mindset and be able to show up and be positive. Your clients are going to love that. Your friends, your family, like it kind of resonates in that sense. And quickly, I just want to have a shout out for Charlotte real quick. She's in Realty One Group Southwest. She said, thank you so much for the wisdom and insight. This info comes at the perfect time for me in my real estate career. Love the always be prospecting. That might be a t-shirt as well. Fortunate in the follow-up, the 6 ways to double income. I'm one of the most positive people on the planet. So everything you said resonates with me.
well.
too.
And here's one more hot tip, Justin, because I think there's someone out there right now that could hear this. If you are watching the news, stop it. Like stop it today. Don't watch any more news. That's all negative. It's garbage. You can't change the world anyways, unless you're going to go out there and start picketing, rioting, whatever. Like if you don't have any plans on doing that, stop watching it. It's negative energy. Trust me, I spent too much time watching the news back in the day, and I'd find myself driving to work, like clenching the steering wheel, and like I get to work and just be in a bad mood. And I didn't realize why until somebody else pointed out to me, hey, look, cut it out. Don't listen to the news, consume great content, listen to great music, have good conversations with good people. It's all simple stuff, but a lot of people just kind of need to hear that.
Yeah, it's almost a reminder. I want to make sure we have a few minutes for a Q&A, but real quick, what are some things that someone who is on a team or has a coach or, a mentor, what are they doing differently than those of the solo agents or just the single agents?
Yeah, again, I think this is big too, because there's the things that people on teams and coaches and mentors do differently is they're practicing. We've talked a lot about that, but you got to practice. And there's so many different ways you can practice. Congratulate yourselves, pat yourself on the back if you're here today, because this is a form of practice, believe it or not. Listening to other people, speak motivationally in a way about real estate, people who have had success, that's a form of practice. But you really got to get out there. A big thing too is, we talk about the scripts and scripting, but they're not scripts. They're just questions written down on a piece of paper, that you want to kind of learn and internalize. And like Josh said, we're not a big fan of reading it, but you have to kind of know what to say in the right moments or the right questions to ask. That's the thing. You're better off asking questions than being the talker all the time. You want to ask the right questions. Well, you either gain that from a couple of ways: years and years of experience, asking the wrong questions, doing it wrong, and then learning from your own mistakes, or you can go in and practice those and internalize those. But people who are on teams have a mentor or coach. We're strong believers in having a coach, having a mentor, and so that you can practice, you can get those years of wisdom of, hey, I did this for years and I learned a better way. Let me just fast forward your learning. Instead of you make all these mistakes, you can really, fast forward your learning a lot by surrounding yourself with people who've done it before.
Yeah, Justin, I think agents that are solo agents, and Morgan and I, we know a lot of awesome, amazing solo agents out there. But I think if you're truly a solo agent with no one else, on your team, I think you're at a huge disadvantage, honestly. I think that you're out there wearing every single hat, trying to do everything and be everything to everyone. And I think it's damn near impossible to be amazing at everything. And so being able to be on a team where you can leverage everything that the team has to offer, you can basically connect with, people that are like-minded and share ideas with each other and bounce things off. Yes, could you do that with other people in your brokerage? Absolutely. But I think it's a little different when you're on a team, because I think there's this kind of family and community sense that is different than just having a conversation with somebody in the bullpen. I mean, even Morgan and I, we've both been doing this for 18 years now. Almost on every single deal, we're still bouncing ideas off of each other and talking through negotiations and how are we going to handle this situation, or this deal is about to fall apart. How can we save it and put it back together again? And being able to have, one or multiple people that can help you, through those tough times, I think is huge. And then also, with the motivation, with the accountability, if you're a solo agent, you got to wake up and you got to motivate yourself every single day, and you got to hold yourself accountable every single day, which is very, very, very difficult to do. That's why the best athletes have coaches. That's why if you want to get in shape really quickly, you go and get a trainer, because having that trainer there that's going to put together your plan, your meal plan, your workout, your daily workout routines, and then hold you accountable, and also motivate you to lift a little bit heavier. Do a couple more sets, lift, do some more squats, whatever it is, run further. I think it's just been proven that having someone like that in your corner that's cheering you on is going to make you a lot more successful than trying to do it yourself day in and day out. So
Definitely. No, I agree. And, a little plug there, you can always reach out to your Rock Title sales executive if you need a little bit of a strategy session or point in the right direction. They are always working with top producers and teams. So they're happy to share that with you. But as we follow up there, guys, let's do a little bit of Q&A. Lisa Weber, curious what you think about the Goldman Sachs article, since it is such a different perspective than what we're hearing from Cromford.
I'll jump on this one because I literally talked through this yesterday and sent it on. But yeah, so a couple of things. Obviously, there's a lot of FUD in that article, which stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And whatever their motives is, there's always going to be someone out there. Oh, it could do this. So a couple of things. They're looking at all of Maricopa County. And there's different sections. I mean, we're a huge county, made 5.5 million people. It's massive, and to equate everything as one. For two, from the 2022 highs to current prices right now, we've already retraced, call it about 10%, given up some of that super hot market gains. And so in the article, it says it could fall by as much as 25%. But they really went after the fear factor by saying it could be similar to 2008, which for those of us in the West, especially the Southwest, Arizona specific, the likelihood of this is just, for one, we're well underbuilt for the amount of population. There's, we're at the front end of the baby boomers retiring. They want to move south and specifically west in a lot of cases for better weather. Taxes, and people are fleeing taxes and political environments that they're finding unfriendly. That's another reason. And then you have just the overall growth of the state. So of course, could we see a nationwide decline? It would really take something that would affect the entire nation to slow things down. But when you're in the southern states, Southwest, you're in such a great position for as far as the people relocating and having kids, everything else, it's really becoming apparent, and then job growth and all of that too. So it's unlikely that we see that, but there's always going to be someone out there preaching some doom and gloom, if anything, just to grab eyeballs and ratings.
Yeah, I'd agree with Morgan in that you can't look at the entire. I mean, you could look at all Maricopa County, but I personally wouldn't, because our clients are looking in specific areas. So, Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, those markets are doing pretty darn well. Maybe if you're in Anthem or Buckeye or Surprise, or, maybe one of these cities, on the outskirts of Maricopa County, you might see a bigger dip in the market. Now, right now, I don't agree that we're going to drop 25%. Once again, we're studying the Cromford report every single week. Right now on the market, we have 12,000 active properties in Maricopa County. Obviously the MLS takes in like Flagstaff and all different parts of Arizona sometimes, where agents are putting in different listings. But if you look just Maricopa County residential, we have a little over 12,000 active properties, active and coming soons. And then we have, I believe, a little over 6,000 pending properties right now, meaning we have 2 months of supply. If not another house comes on the market, we have 2 months of supply. That is very, very low inventory. That's very low supply for a normal market. A normal market's typically 5 to 6 months of supply. And we're coming into our busy best season with the Super Bowl right around the corner and all eyes on Arizona. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think we'd come anywhere close to 25% below.
Yeah, and some things, I mean, like Josh said, you've got to get a little more area specific when you are looking at those things. Yeah, we're just in such a great spot, and I know many of you on this call are either in Arizona, even Nevada. You know, articles like this are quick to grab some of the farther lying reaches and say, oh, see over there, you know, where prices were skyrocketing, now they pulled back. It's also opportunity for other buyers, as we know, you know, those who prepared for it too and thought about it. There's a lot of opportunity in those markets, but I really just don't think we're going to see that kind of retrace.
Awesome, guys. And one more question I think we got from Deborah, and it's very relevant, I think. It's kind of a little, let me see if I can find it here now. There it is. So amongst all this hustle and work required for success, what about getting burned out, right? Do you ever take a break, or did you guys ever take a break or day off? Do you go on vacation? How do you balance?
Absolutely. And we always joke, if you want to sell a house, go on vacation. Because like literally as soon as like you're on the airplane, it's like, oh, I just got an offer on 123 Main Street, you know? So no, I mean, Morgan and I both, I have 3 little ones, Morgan has 3 kids. And so, you know, we both understand how important it is to go on vacation, spend time with your family, and not get burnt out. We've actually seen a lot of agents on our team who have got burnt out because they're constantly in the hamster wheel sort of thing. So that's why it's really important to be extremely efficient with your time and very intentional about what you're doing every single day. So you're not just being busy, because you can spend 20 hours a day being busy, but that doesn't mean you're being productive.
Yeah.
So I think it's super important to be productive with that time. And then also, yeah, carve out time to go on vacation and reset and refresh. And that's another bonus about being on a team, is that, well, actually, I mean, I don't know how all teams work, but on our team, if someone goes on vacation, they know that they've got boots on the ground, you know, here in Arizona, to where we can take care of that. If they have a client that needs to see properties, or, you know, if they've got a listing that they need taken care of while they're gone, like, you know, we handle all of that.
I think a big thing is to, when you come down to burnout, you know, look, this is, I don't know, I don't remember exactly the last day off I took, and that's okay. Just because, you know, it's kind of the sun shining, it's time to make hay in a way. But, you know, it's mindset. Again, agents get burned out when they feel like they're running, but there's no production, there's no closings at the end of the table. And that's when you have a tendency to, and so, like Josh said, really focusing on your time and understanding that is helpful, but setting up your schedule for success, having some of those, knowing the hours you can work and will, having a little more control with your clients, setting some expectations up front, where you're still there to service all of their needs, but maybe you put some boundaries. You know, there are times where you have to be willing to look at your phone call, and if it's 9 o'clock at night, and you know that this might just be a bitch session as to maybe why my listing hasn't sold, you're going to go, you know what, I'll call you back in the morning. Or you know, so schedule your time in your schedule and working that in. But I would say a key thing too is, if you are a solo agent and you're trying to wear every single hat, and you're, you know, coordinating your own transaction, and you have a few deals in the hopper and multiple buyers, and there's just no help I mean, there's slight help here and there, but that's a big thing, you know, having a support system to where if things do get kind of crazy, you're able to push off some of those tasks, those non-dollar generating activity tasks, and be able to still get them done, so that you don't miss out on your follow-ups and your follow-throughs and your follow back. You don't, because you don't want to lose those. Those are going to be, that's the heart of your business. Remember, that is your secret sauce if you've got one. And so, to push off making some follow-up calls so that you can submit a document or, do some of these things that don't, lead to paychecks down the road. I think that's how you get burned out, is just constantly spinning your wheels and no clients are buying, no homes are selling. And so I think some of your activities need to be kind of viewed at. And then the other thing that's so great about prospecting is there's always different levels of clients and different levels of motivations. And the more clients you have allows you to focus on the ones who are really ready to go right now. And the ones who are maybe here and there, you can kind of back burner them a little bit until they get a little more serious, get a little more motivated.
For sure. And real quick, we're going to finish up with one last question. And then we are definitely going to have more calls like this. If you guys have any topics or anything that you would love for Josh and Morgan to talk about, please let us know. You can email me, justin@rocktitle.com, justin@roctitle.com, and I'll work with the guys to get some more of these events popped up. Also, if you guys want more of their content, please go. We just passed the 100 subscriber mark. Please go there, subscribe to their channel. We've done a podcast together, which had a lot of gold on their strategies for a changing market. They always post content on there for you guys to consume more. So please scan this QR code. Everyone that subscribes today, I will do it, everyone on the channel too, but I will give away a $50 rockstarshop.com gift card so you can go get some swag. So please scan that. And real quick, what time of the day have you found best to make calls to leads or sphere influence nurturers? So what time of day have you found the most success, if there is a particular time?
I think that if someone's very, very open with their schedule, then I would say the morning hours from 8 to 10 are great. And then also the afternoon hours from 4 to 6 or 4 to 7, when you're catching people either on their way into work or on their way home. But honestly, I think anytime you're willing to pick up the phone, if you're going to call leads or call your SOI, I think anytime you're willing to pick up the phone and make phone calls is a great time. Like, I wouldn't steer anyone away if they're like, oh, it's 11 a.m., but Josh said between 8 and 10, so I guess I'll wait till tomorrow. I would say, no, get on the phone right now. Spend the next hour or two calling. Anytime you're making calls is a great time to be prospecting.
Yep.
I love it. Good stuff, guys. Thank you both for doing today's coaching session with us. We will definitely look forward to doing more with you in the future. And please, everyone that is on the call, if you have a deal coming up or your next contract, please consider writing Rock Title in on that purchase contract. We are very happy to serve you and your clients. We have several branches across both Arizona and Nevada, expanding nationally. So we would love to work with you. You can always go to rockuniversity.com for more content like this and all of our recordings. Of course, make sure to go subscribe to Morgan and Josh. And real quick, guys, if they wanted to reach out to you, more information on team, joining a team, or what you guys offer, how can they do that?
They could go to our website, mojoscottsdale.com. We actually have a join the team link on there, or they can email us directly, mojo@mojoscottsdale.com, or they can pick up the phone and call us, 480-356-5657. Once again, guys, we're open books. If you want to pick our brains about anything out there, we're happy to chat. It's just something that we enjoy doing.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. I hope everyone has an amazing and very successful 2023. And until next time, we will see you all in escrow. Have a great day, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.